urgent. Today, I bring you the images of the very moment when a US B-1 Lancer erased from the map a Houthi bunker that, according to Allied intelligence, coordinated attacks against civilian navigation in the Red Sea. Subscribe right now if you believe the B-1 Lancer acted with the necessary forcefulness to stop the Houthi threat. Leave your comment if, on the contrary, you think this attack opens a Pandora's box and spirals out of control. Protection of maritime routes, or simply a warning to the planet. Stay tuned. I'll show you every image with declassified files and opposing testimonies. At 14:15 local time, a B-1B Lancer of the 34th Bomb Squadron of the U.S. Air Force was flying over the Red Sea at 41,000 feet, only a few kilometers from Yemen's coastal strip. The aircraft, nicknamed the Bone by its crews due to its sleek, straight-lined fuselage, was on a strategic patrol mission to observe Houthi movements in the mountainous regions northwest of Sana'a. On board were 4 aviators with thousands of flight hours, dividing tasks of piloting, navigation, offensive systems, and self-defense. Their consoles, fitted with state-of-the-art sensors, tracked in real time every echo from land, sea, or air. What began as a surveillance routine was about to become the first direct action of a B-1B against a Houthi target. At 14:22, the AN/AL-Q161A radar mounted under the fuselage registered an anomalous emission from a rocky formation about 80 kilometers southwest of the Yemeni capital. The software identified the signature, a 1S-91 radar, modernized by Iranian technicians, capable of guiding SA-6 surface-to-air missiles with an approximate range of 30 kilometers. The signal did not come from an exposed facility, but from a reinforced underground complex functioning as a command center to coordinate attacks against Red Sea maritime traffic, and against U.S. reconnaissance aircraft intelligence had been tracking this site for months. However, its exact location and level of protection had not been confirmed until that instant. The electronic warfare officer confirmed the radar was active and attempting to lock on the bomber. Knowing that an SA-6 can reach speeds near Mach 3, the crew had only seconds to react. But the Lancer was not operating alone. 2 F-35 Lightning II aircraft were flying in stealth mode about 110 kilometers away, providing directed jamming through their ANAS-Q239 systems. Further north, an E-3 Sentry maintained airborne surveillance and integrated all operational data. At 14:28, an acoustic alarm signaled a missile launch. The pilot, with more than 2,700 hours in that model, banked hard southwest and descended to 25,000 feet to break the firing solution. Simultaneously, the AN/AL-Q161A released MJU-50/B flares and metallic chaff clouds that simulated alternate thermal and electromagnetic signatures, confusing the SA-6 seeker. The missile passed within 2 kilometers and detonated harmlessly. Seconds later, another trail appeared on the screens, launched this time from about 60 kilometers. The countermeasures operator increased transmitter power, while the F-35s boosted electronic saturation, drastically reducing the accuracy of enemy radars. A third missile closed dangerously. A second volley of chaff and flares created a wide curtain, forcing the projectile to veer off and explode half a kilometer away. The fuselage shook, but the structure held intact. With the underground site now prioritized as a high-value target, Central Command authorized an immediate strike at 14:43. The B-1B carried 24 GBU-31 JDAM guided bombs, each with 900 kilograms of explosives capable of penetrating up to 4.5 meters of reinforced concrete. A reconnaissance satellite, supported by an MQ-9 Reaper orbiting at 17,000 feet, confirmed the distribution of reinforced tunnels forming the underground network. While the F-35s maintained defense suppression, the E-3 updated the operational picture in real time. The crew programmed a staggered attack pattern, 10 JDAMs in the first pass and the rest in reserve for secondary targets. At 14:56, from 28,000 feet, the bomb bay opened and the weapons dropped in sequence. Guided by inertial navigation with GPS correction, they descended with a circular error margin of less than 1 meter. The first explosion raised a column of debris over 300 meters high, Successive detonations sent shockwaves collapsing internal galleries, igniting secondary fires and destroying SA-6 launchers, Iranian-made drones, and fuel depots. The area was transformed into a wide, smoking crater. 30 minutes later, a small Houthi group launched an Igla-S missile against the MQ-9 Reaper, still filming the site. The drone deployed infrared countermeasures and climbed, evading the impact. Optical sensors then detected a convoy of 6 armed vehicles heading toward the strike zone. CENTCOM ordered a second strike. At 15:45, the B-1B released 8 225-kilogram GBU-38s in a dispersed pattern, neutralizing the convoy and preventing any possible recovery of sensitive material. At 17:15, 6 A-18E Super Hornets from the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower carried out a complementary sweep. They employed AGM-65 Maverick missiles, GBU-12 Paveway II bombs, and AGM-158 JASSM missiles to destroy a supply warehouse, a mobile command post, a fuel depot, and an improvised drone workshop, all previously marked by the Reaper. During that action, a Houthi radar, possibly an Iranian Kasta II variant, briefly activated. One of the Super Hornets switched on its ALQ-249 pod and blinded the emitter in under 2 seconds, completing the sortie without complications, but evidencing the increasing sophistication of rebel systems. Preliminary assessments indicated total destruction of the complex. 4 SA-6 launchers, a stockpile of Shahed 136 kamikaze drones, a batch of anti-ship ballistic missiles, and the loss of an encrypted communications node. Although the blow would restrict Houthi operations for months, analysts noted the movement still retained 15 to 20 additional SA-6 launchers, along with Igla-S portable missiles and various arms supplied or upgraded by Iran. Hours after the first wave, a second MQ-9 Reaper was deployed to conduct a detailed damage assessment. Its multispectral cameras and synthetic aperture radar confirmed the underground complex had vanished completely. Where once a tunnel network extended, now there was a crater about 45 meters deep with blackened edges, strewn with debris and metal fragments still radiating residual heat. At the same time, telemetry analysis revealed fragments of an intercepted SA-6 had struck the B-1B during defensive maneuvers, leaving minor dents on an access panel, a communications antenna, and an external ventilation duct. Engineers at Diego Garcia Air Base, informed in real time, estimated repairs, panel replacement, structural checks with ultrasound and sensor recalibration would take only a few hours after landing, allowing the bomber to return to the operational cycle without significant delay. The operation demonstrated the Lancer's effectiveness in neutralizing buried structures when combined with F-35 electronic support, AWACS surveillance, and persistent mail drones. However, at 21:10, sensors aboard the USS Laboon destroyer detected the launch of 4 Fateh 110 anti-ship missiles. They were intercepted by SM-6 missiles with no casualties or damage, but proving the Houthi response capability remained active. To prevent the rebels from restoring their network, CENTCOM intensified intelligence missions with MQ-9s, satellites, P-8 Poseidons, and RC-135 rivet joints. At 22:40, a third Reaper observed movements 30 kilometers from the main crater. Presumed surviving fighters were attempting to regroup. Continuous surveillance was ordered without immediate further airstrikes. At 23:20, a P-8 detected a new mobile radar in the mountains. A pair of F-35s attacked with AGM-88 CHARM missiles and destroyed both the emitter and its support convoy within minutes, preventing defenses from re-emerging. Near midnight, the USS Carney destroyer neutralized an explosive boat aimed at its hull with an SM-2, underscoring the persistence of Houthi asymmetric tactics. The B-1B crew, now on the ground, analyzed telemetry and drafted their final report, aware that new sorties would soon be required. The use of the B-1B in this scenario highlighted its utility in campaigns to degrade critical infrastructure. Although the enemy suffered substantial losses, its arsenal, sustained for years by foreign assistance, remains a risk factor, requiring successive operations. For now, the clearest lesson is that no underground site remains safe when guided precision, electronic warfare, and persistent reconnaissance are combined. And now, as the echoes of the detonations fade across Yemen's mountains, the question looms that everyone fears to voice. Is the United States planning a second B-1 wave to prevent the resurgence of Houthi tunnels? Communication lines buzz with rumors, some plausible, others sheer speculation. But the clock ticks, and every minute without an answer fuels new theories. You, on the other side of the screen, have the final word. Subscribe so you don't miss the next report, because when the reprisals arrive, and everything suggests they will, we will analyze them frame by frame, with the same relentless scrutiny and the questions no one else dares to ask. See you in the next video.